Number one, we're going to rank these in order. You've got to be balanced. Everything has to be balanced. Number two, you've got to get that weight distribution. Number three, you have to get the rotation. Number four, you have to get the width. And number five is you have to get the speed down correctly. Good afternoon, Lion Golf Academy members, and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about how to swing a golf club. It sounds pretty silly, but thank you for the one person that voted for this video. This one's for you. So the next time I have a poll out there and you want to see what video there is, you might just be the only person that votes on it and you get your own custom video. So whoever that was, thank you. But let's take a look at what we need to do to get a more controlled motion and what the golf swing really is. And if you look at that verbiage, we have golf and we have swing. So swing is the most important thing, correct? Unless it's a tennis swing or baseball swing or a tiddlywink swing or beer pong swing. And yes, I know there are some beer pong swingers out there. Not saying I was one. When you talk about baseball swings and you teach a baseball swing, we're trying to hit a moving target with a swing. Now, obviously, we have to keep our eye on the baseball as it comes through. We're trying to make contact with that ball, but it's a swing. We don't just make contact and stop right here, because that would not be a very efficient baseball swing. The problem with golf is we have a ball that is static. It's staying there all the time. So our swing is interpreted to hitting a ball. And one of the first things I talk to with brand new students, and if you're watching this, I assume you're a brand new student, is they see that golf ball and they say, I need to hit that ball. So their golf swing all of a sudden becomes in their mind hitting that ball. And what I usually see is at impact, we see a lot of aggression down at impact. We strike the ball and we just kind of stop over here, which means our hands are really getting involved. There's not much rotation, and we start to learn to swing like this. It's not about club head speed, it's about ball contact on the club face. You can swing super aggressively, as hard as you can, fly out your shoes, burst your seams of your pants, and make contact right in that toe. And I can come along and take this controlled swing at about 60% of your power that you just did, hit it in the sweet spot, and probably hit it as far as you. So it's about control. Now, when you look at swing, I want you to start thinking about the swing finish as your target. So you're trying to hit back here. So in other words, your goal is to get there. Your goal is not to hit the ball. The ball needs to be in the way of your swing. Now, I say that because our swing needs to be a free-flowing motion. Now, obviously, when you first start out, you're going to want to try and hit that golf ball, and you're going to look at all these people in the range, and they're going to be able to hit some of the golf balls. And your number one thing is, I need to try and hit that ball. Let me try and help that ball in the air. And what happens is we start scooping the ball, which means my hands try to help that ball up in the air just so I make contact so I don't feel so bad. But forget those people. Just take a swing. Go to the range and don't even buy golf balls. Just stand on the mat. And your number one goal is to try and brush that ground while you are finishing all the way. So we've established that as a swing. Now let's talk about the speed of your swing. Do you need an aggressive motion? Do you need a very fast motion? Do you need a controlled motion? Just like anything in life, it's all about control and balance. So you want a little bit of aggression, but you don't want to swing so you're flying off your feet, because we don't want you to go out of here in a wheelchair. We want you to stay in this game. So we have a motion in every other sport, and golf is very much a sport. And some statistics for you. If you don't want to hear this, skip ahead about 30 seconds, but if you want to stay with me, some great statistics is we making that club head go from 0 miles an hour to over 100 miles an hour in 0.2 seconds to 0.3 seconds. We are producing 2 tons of force at impact to strike the ball with sufficient enough spin and power to get the ball to go out there. So that's a pretty aggressive motion, and all this is done in about a second.
So with all those stats in mind, you have to look at the way you swing your body. Do you think you can develop 2 tons of force at impact with just your hands and arms, or do you think it's just with the body? Short answer is it's a combination of both. So the amount of turn, the amount of connection that you have is very important, and that comes down to your speed control. If you have a slow enough swing, you can still stay connected pretty well.
So let's talk about the weight. So we've gone over the swing. Now let's think about weight distribution. So if I'm throwing anything, if I'm out here bowling, right? So if I'm bowling, I don't just go from here and bowl with my arms. I'm bowling, I walk into it, I push my weight, everything's going from one side to the other. And we usually finish our weight towards the target. If I am throwing a spear, I get back here, I throw the spear, weight's going this way. If I'm playing tennis, weight goes from my back foot to my front foot. If I'm baseballing it, unless I'm trying to swing up, I'm usually powering through, right? Everything's going through. If I am playing ping pong, what am I doing with my ping pong? So every sport that you face, there is some weight distribution. So why shouldn't golf be the same thing? We need to get that weight distribution from right side to left side. We got to free up our body. And the easiest way to free up your body is get some weight distribution. Now, we don't want to start to slide, because we don't slide in any sport, right? We don't, baseball, you're not throwing a ball back here and sliding so far that you fall over. So we have to find our center. And our center for golf is right where our spine is pointing. So if I just slide a little bit, that's enough, because I can still pick up my lead foot, and I can drive into it and pick up my right foot. If you want to get a feeling of that sliding, as you first start to learn, it's okay to get that exaggerated feeling. But then as you learn to strike the golf ball, narrow it down so you're still getting that weight distribution, but it's not exaggerated. And now we get to the rotation. So rotation really depends on you as a person. Some people can over-rotate. Some people can very struggle to rotate. It's hard to teach rotation. Rotation just happens. If you're flexible, if you drink enough water, if you exercise 3 or 4 times a week, if you stretch 3 or 4 times a week, your rotation should be adequate. Now, we don't have to spin. You don't, just like throwing a ball, you don't spin and then spin all the way. You have to get some rotation within reason. So within reason for the golf swing, you want to look at 45-90 as your basis. So 45 degrees, 90 degrees, which gives you a good separation between the two. So you're not spinning open and you're not just being like a cardboard cutout. So we understand that there's a turn, but there's also a tilt. Now the tilt, there's no adding tilt, there's no minusing tilt. Your tilt is just basically where you are standing. So if I'm, throwing a ball, I'm not going to go here and all of a sudden tilt this way, because I'll fall back. If I'm throwing a ball, I'm not going to tilt down. So the same with the golf swing. If this is my golf ball, my golf swing will be a little bit easier because I just turn and I swing this way. There's no added tilt. But the reason why we add tilt is once I'm here, as I fall down, now my tilt is going to change based on this line here. So my shoulders should be 90 degrees based on that spine. And that just shows that I tilted around my spine. I didn't add tilt and I didn't stand up. The tilt-turn relationship should be pretty basic all around your spine axis, and that just changes. So ball position changes. The longer the club gets, the more I can turn around my natural tilt. The shorter the club gets, the more I have to appear like I'm tilting, but I'm just staying in relation to this angle. I don't want to get too complicated in this, but let's just talk about the lever system, because it does apply in the golf swing specifically for those that have a 4th lever. So we have lever number 1 is the rotation of your body. Lever number 2 is the up and down motion of your arms. And lever number 3 is the wrists. So we have 1, 2, 3 levers involved. Some of you get 4 levers involved. So when you have 4 levers involved, the amount of timing it takes to unwind all these levers and strike the golf ball is tough. Body's not powerful enough to do it on its own. The body and the shoulders are not powerful enough to do it on its own, so we need that 3rd lever. Now the 3rd lever, there is some rotation of your wrists, so it can get pretty complicated, and I don't want to overcomplicate this video. I just want to give it a basic understanding of what the golf swing is and what you're looking to do. Your chest has to keep up with your arm speed. So if you're turning here and my arms get back to here, I have to not cross my chest, and that crossing the chest makes it hard. So sometimes I slow down my turn so my hands can cross the chest. So everything should be about the same rotation. If you're having a tough time seeing this, think of a Ferris wheel. So the outside of the Ferris wheel is moving much faster than the inside of the Ferris wheel. The wider that Ferris wheel becomes, the slower my inside can turn, and my speed of my hands increases, which is why we look for widths. Make sure it's a full swing. The golf ball is just getting in your way of the swing. You are not striking the golf ball, and I hope that helps. If you like this, hit that like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. But other than that, let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know if this is useful or just a waste of time. Hopefully, it's the first option. Fairways and green.